Tonight, the veterinary service is urging citizens not to let their guards down as many more birds have been lost to bird flu. Many birds have either died or some destroyed after officials detected the avian influenza virus in various farms. This was part of measures to deal with the outbreak of the bird flu. Now, farmers have been counting their losses, expecting government to provide relief. But the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Akoto-Efuye, has given the clearest indication yet the government will not renege on this promise. He spoke to journalists in the Western region as part of his nationwide tour.
At the moment, I have a memo at Cabinet for seeking money for compensation to the farmers. So you better convey to them they shouldn't worry. I mean, this is my second experience. The first one when I was a member of parliament and the ranking member for food, agriculture and cocoa affairs in 2015, there was an outbreak. And we were in the forefront trying to force the government to give money for compensation. Now that I'm in charge, nobody can come and tell me. Rice, yes, rice, the same as OT, the same as Bono East, Bono itself, and Ahafu. They all have these valleys. I remember the figure when we were in Bono East about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. They have 79 valleys. 79 valleys. I don't know whether Fojo can tell me how many valleys he has in this. How many valleys do you have? You have over 100. So you exceed Bono East. Okay, that's fine. The same for Uti and the others. And you know, when I became minister, 2017, the Korean ambassador then, who used to be a member of my tennis club, was telling me that his predecessor had invited a group of experts from Korea to Central Region. And he concluded that Central Region valleys alone can feed Ghana 3 times over, just Central Region.
Let's go to the phone lines now. We're joined by Dr. Bashir Boy Kikimoto. He's with the Veterinary Services Directorate as Head of Public Health. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Joy News Prime. It's been a while we got an update from the service. What is the latest in terms of the birds that have died and the outbreak of bird flu?
Yeah, thank you very much for calling to know what is happening. You know, the Veterinary Services Directorate, the Minister of Food and Agriculture, has put a lot of measures to make sure that this bird flu or avian influenza, the highly pathogenic, is under control. However, it seems to be escalating in the sense that currently, as of the 29th of September, we have over 261,000 birds which has gone off the poultry industry in Ghana. And we think that this is actually affecting the poultry industry. And that is just excluding the eggs, the feed, the control measures that government has put in. So I think that currently this is what I know about. There could be more outbreaks because I know Eastern region has gotten their latest outbreak in Sawam and other places. Other regions are getting their own. You know, Upper West already had their own. So I think that there are a lot of reasons why this one is happening. The Poultry Farmers Association, they need to talk to their people to support the ministry to make sure that people don't move birds from one area to another. And secondly, also for the system to improve the employment of new veterinary doctors to support the system, because it's an emergency case and the numbers are increasing because of shortage of staff and then funds also not available as it's supposed to be. So I think these are some of the things that I can talk about now.
Over 251,000, that is huge. But are you monitoring the farms and are you carrying out the disinfections that you said you were doing to keep the situation under control?
You know, for that one, it's an international measure. The OIE, the World Organization for Animal Health, stipulates those guidelines everybody has to take, whether you're in America, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Russia, or Ghana, you have to follow that method. We are following the same method. But the thing is that I think there's something missing. Either it's on the side of the poultry farmers themselves, or maybe due to the acute shortage of veterinary doctors in the system, it's actually making the disease spread from one place to another. But I call on the Poultry Farmers Association to educate their members not to throw away carcasses, make sure they get the veterinary involved to do the needful to prevent further escalation of the situation.
And
so this is one of the worst outbreaks we are getting before, because it has not reached about 4 months, and we have already finished about 261,000 birds in Ghana, and that is more than 5 regions or constituencies combined. So it's a serious matter.
So clearly, we are not out of the woods. We shouldn't expect to have this dealt with in the next few months, and citizens should be wary of their consumption of chicken.
Yeah, I think that
it appears we have lost Dr. Bashir Boy Kikumoto on the line there. We have we have issues with the network. We'll be working the phone lines now to speak to the Poultry Farmers Association, Victor Opon-Ejay. He is the president and he is on the line with us. Mr. Opon-Ejay, I'm grateful that you could join us. Dr. Bashir Kikumoto was saying that you need to get your members to make sure they do not move birds from one farm to the other. How are you complying? What can you tell us about compliance on the part of your members to ensure that we keep this under control?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Ernest. I can assure you that you've done a lot of education and sensitization to the members. You know, bird flu came here since 2006, and we've worked a lot, especially to the farmers. We've shown them what to do and what not to do, especially on the biosecurity. We've also asked them not to be very careful with farm management. So for the farmers, a lot of education and sensitization has gone there.
And the major issue, or the issue that often defeats the protocols that you put in place, is the issue of compensation when these birds are lost, either destroyed or die as a result of the flu. Government is saying that a memo is before the Agric Ministry. We heard from the minister a while ago, and that the monies will be processed to be given to the farmers. Are you aware of the processes, and have you been involved in these deliberations?
Well, we are not very much aware, but we've heard that the memo is already gone to cabinet for compensation. You know, it's very hard to be infected with this bird flu virus, because the moment we detect a virus at your farm, all the birds are depopulated, and you cannot work for 6 months. So it makes it very difficult for the farmer to live. So it was a good news to hear that the government is ready to pay the compensation. But as of now, we've not had any communication as to how much they are going to pay or what. But first things first, now it's been accepted that the compensation will be paid. So we're looking forward for how much they are going to pay per bird.
Some of your members have raised issues. In fact, they do not have confidence in this promise because they claim that the last time we had the outbreak, some of them did not receive compensation at all, or it came in part. Can you confirm this for us?
Well, we cannot put the blame on the government, because at that very moment, the government approved 11 million, which went to Parliament, which was approved and given to the ministry. So about 1.1 million was the first payment made to the farmers. The second one was about 1.4 million, which was not paid. But if 11 million has already been approved,
Unfortunately, we have a terrible connection to Mr. Opon-Ejay there, who is the president of the Poultry Farmers Association. Let's go on to the other line. We're joined again by Dr. Bashir Boy Kikumoto. Dr. Boy, you were talking about how the general public, citizens, should be worried about their consumption of meat.
No, it's not about the consumption of meat. I think the journalists are more concerned about the consumption. You know, this is a virus. So people should not just concentrate on the consumption.
Okay.
The consumption is not the problem because every Ghanaian cooks his food very well.
Okay.
And there's no problem. The virus will die. But the problem is that you get the virus when you are preparing or touching dead beds. It's not during the consumption. So I want the journalists to understand that it's not the consumption which is the most important thing.
It is the preparation.
Is the consumption. That's where the problem is coming from. Just like Ebola.
Okay. So contact with the birds if they are infected. That is where the issue is.
Yes, if you touch the infected bed and you wipe your eyes, if you pick the dead bed without protection and you wipe your nose, you get the disease. It's not the consumption. As for consumption, you know, Africans generally or Ghanaians, we cook our food very well. That one will not be the problem, but you may get it before even you eat the food.
Very well. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Bashir Boy Kikumoto. He's the head of public health at the Veterinary Services Directorate.